I want to make some general observations about the game. We'll see how many I can manage to get through. I wrote down 8 or 9 or 10 of them. I want to start by talking about execution versus just getting beat. Execution is a word you hear a lot, from the coaches and such. This block they ask Zeus to make here. It's interesting, right? In some respects, he does a great job because he's being asked to get out on a very dynamic linebacker here off that combination. Barely lays a glove on him, but that's an effective block for what they're trying to accomplish here. So it's a good job by Zeus there. So it's a fine line, always, where you want to move. Make sure you have this block under control and some kind of movement before you climb. But it could be that they just coached him to just get a little piece of that and get out. And in that case, it's a great job. Obviously, Bozeman is not in a position here or gets beat back into the quarterback. So when that's what I mean. There's a fine line between execution and just getting beat, And maybe they are synonymous at times. The other thing is Lamar, I think, takes on just too much, and that's in his makeup, I think, mentally. Just try to make things happen by myself. And some of that too is the play calling. Not on this play in particular, I don't think, but you'll see them empty on 3rd and 3, and the call is clearly just go make it happen, Lamar. You do it. Run the football. Maybe we'll look at a play that shows that. But I think defenses are hip to that. And I think that's a weight that he doesn't need to bear. Some of that is his own doing. You'll see certain plays where something's open and he'll try to make something else happen. Here you see him try to fake this pitch. You can see what he's thinking. I think there's an argument. It's 3rd and short here. Just pitch this football. Dobbins is in a position to beat this defender. There's a block to his left. He's going to have to make it happen, but I think Lamar is responsible to get that ball out there. You see one of the tight ends really doing a nice job driving. I think that's Andrews to the sideline. So he's either going to have to follow this block outside, which probably he does here, or try to cut this inside. But I think Lamar needs to pitch that football. Obviously, that's a problem right there. But he's got space and time enough to get that ball out. So you see Bozeman get beat. You see something curious, I think, here off the line of scrimmage. In terms of timing, however they coach Zeus up here in terms of movement, I'm going to put most of this on Bozeman, though. Just getting beat. But I do think a big portion of this play, or the blame, if you want to use that word, is Lamar. Just trying to make something happen. And I see that throughout. And that's perhaps just a little bit of a young quarterback thing and just being exceptional the way he is. He thinks he can make anything happen. He should realize that Dobbins can make stuff happen too here, in this particular play. Lamar is so spectacular, in his playmaking ability. I think sometimes, though, you want to see him take what's there. Even if the potential payoff is not as great. And I'm referring specifically here to the back. When he sees this pressure in his face here, just continue his back pedal just a little bit, or his drop, a little bit. I get the sense right here he's thinking, I'm going to peel this out. And he looks like he's going to run it. Perhaps he's going to look downfield, and you can see why. But these guys, this guy makes a nice play. These guys are working outside to keep him contained. So by the time he's out of this spin, this guy's on him. Nice play, no doubt about it. But you're going to see most quarterbacks, not to say he's most quarterbacks, right now have an awareness of this back free in the flat, and just dump it. Just dump it to him. Again, getting the ball in other people's hands. He doesn't have to do everything for the team. That's a tough sell, I think, to him, internally. He's going to have to sell himself on that, or the team's going to have to really desire that of him. I'm not sure they do. I'm not sure they do. I think they like the idea that, I don't know, that he's the playmaker. He's the playmaker. And sure, it's easy to, second guess this right here. It's easy for me to second guess it. But you can see what he's thinking. However, I'll go back to this. Most quarterbacks right now, as they see this pressure, are going to turn and hit their check down. And you've got room here. I'm not sure this is the best play as an example, but this team needs to take shots, has to take shots downfield. He does a good job here dumping it off, I think, finding his check down. He's really focused on this one-on-one outside. I thought there were opportunities for this team to win deep all game, not just in the second half versus this defense. You can see he's got Willie up the seam here. This isn't perhaps the sort of shot that I'm talking about, but I thought they were getting behind this second level with enough space with some kind of single middle of the field safety during the course of this game. He's got time here, does a good job ultimately of dumping it. But I think that the 2020 hindsight view is the seam here, and I think some of that is looking, some of that is reads going through them. He stays on this read a good little bit. Good time in the pocket. By the time he comes here, I don't know if he thinks it's too late. Perhaps it is. It could be one of those throws you just got to hit him running. It's got to be an early read. Another observation I had has to do with this player right here of the Colts. I just had to mention, this guy's really dynamic defensive end. I have no idea who he is, number 96. But he just pops on the film, just killing our tight ends. You don't say that much about Nick Boyle. This guy just does a great job throughout the game of shedding and locking out. Good little run. Good little run. This is, I think, 3rd and 1 or something. 3rd and 2. Just following Nick's block. Nick gets a little help from 70, the right tackle there. And that's all he needs. But man, oh man, this guy was dynamic through the game. So I had to point that out. The player of the game to me is Nick Boyle. And if he isn't that, he's certainly the dirty work player of the game. He is just everywhere in this game. This is 96. Watch him lower his shoulder and just level Nick, man. Nick's just getting throwing his body around throughout the game. Like I said, you don't see Nick get whooped a little bit that often. So this player, man, he jumped out. There was a play from another one of our videos where Andrews, I thought maybe he was too half-hearted in his attempt to block this guy, but nah, this guy's just an animal. Good outside the numbers throw by Lamar. Going to have to stretch the field, going to have to hit stuff outside the numbers. Everybody's working to stop us inside. I need to do a video on Nick, every snap through the game, just when I have time. He's just throwing his body. I'm gonna say something. He is the most important part of this offense outside of Lamar. Nick Boyle, just his versatility, how he's playing this season. A couple interesting things about this play, I think. We talk execution. You see Bozeman getting beat there. You also see, you just see too many people on this boot following Lamar. I mean, teams are ready for that too. That's old in the playbook now. Boykin's got a good bit of space here. There's no room, unfortunately, I don't think, for him to keep this alive much longer. It's a pretty good idea of Lamar here to get this ball out to Nick. Let's look at it from the other side. Uh, that's his first look. You know, if he's able to boot that further out, maybe he hits Miles. But Miles is the high man here, and he's clear. Watch it again. This was a very effective personnel grouping and alignment to have the two tight ends here to the right. Um, you just don't know when these guys get a release whether they're going out on a route together or individually, or if they're just going out and blocking as they are here. You know, that's a clear call for them to block um, and a read by the quarterback to get outside. So that's I haven't watched enough early games to see how often we use that, but in this game, very effective. You know, both in sending them out and having them block. Here's another example of the alignment we just mentioned, having Andrews and Nicholas running different routes. I think Nick does a great job here. He's going to run a dig, but you know he can see Lamar under duress. He's running this deep over or this cross, you know, as they run the vertical on the outside. Um, yeah, so you don't know. That really freezes um, linebackers or safeties, and these two are both dynamic in that way. I think Nick does a good job. He runs his dig, finds his quarterback, and quarterback does a good job putting the ball low and outside there too. So yeah, let's just keep an eye on that personnel grouping, those two, see how effective it is or isn't moving forward. Pernell McPhee is one of my favorite football players. And if you want to try to block him with the tight end, you should probably cross your fingers on this. He does whatever he wants with this guy. Locks out, gets rid of him, and stops the ball carrier. Watch it again. Purnell's always worth keeping an eye on, no matter how far away he is from the play, just to see what he does, how physical he is, how involved he is. He makes the key block on this fumble return for a touchdown. And I bet not too many people realize that. Watch him here. Just cause he's going to take this guy on. Hits him. That lineman gets blocked into this lineman, and Chuck's got a little bit more of a clear path here, all because of Purnell.